Hello again, Conte. Continuing from the long sword run, we're now doing hammer. Again, as I mentioned before, we've moved on to the weapons that I don't really play very often. Hammer is a weapon that I pretty much never played. I have a little bit of experience from like base world a long time ago and from the older games, and so this wasn't too bad to get into, but yeah, it was definitely a bit of a culture shock. Like I do not play much hammer. You can see I've layered my Fatalis hammer, and I'll show the set at the end, by the way. But yeah, you can see that I've layered my Fatalis hammer with Jang, because I would keep forgetting to go into the Big Bang charge mode or whatever it's called. Oh, that's one thing that you'll have to get used to, is I just refer to everything as Big Bang for some reason. I can't learn this weapon's move names. But yeah, I would always forget to like go into my power stance, I think it's called, or whatever it is. And so I layered it with the Jang hammer under chat's recommendations, and that way it goes yellow when it's charged and it stays black when it's not, and that's a pretty good way to remind myself. Oh, speaking of chat, we stream this stuff live at twitch.tv/consoleA, so you should maybe drop by if you want to catch them live and give me weapon tips on weapons I haven't played before. We're going to be learning Sword and Shield probably today when this video goes up, or maybe yesterday. Anyway, you should follow me there if you want to see when I go live. I am going to be phasing out the YouTube streams, just an FYI. We're going to be slowly but surely migrating over to purely Twitch for logistical reasons. So if you've been watching me primarily on YouTube, you might want to follow the Twitch account. Yeah, so with hammer, there are a few openings. The gameplay mostly talks for itself in these first few phases. You can see I'm constantly charging. Now, if I have enough time, I like to go for the that finisher there with the spin move. If you can land at least 3 turns, I believe it is, then it's worth going for that spin move. If you can't land the 3 turns, then it's not worth it. Otherwise, I like to go for the Big Bang Slam, whatever it is, the big charge move. If it's a fairly stationary opening. I mean, again, you're seeing the openings here. I just throw them out, and some of them hit and some of them don't. If possible, go for uppercuts too. You're basically just trying to get him to land. When he does the big bite, I like to go for a golf swing if I don't need to reposition. If I need to reposition like this, I'll usually go for an uppercut. And so those are my punishes. I want to clarify, I don't know what I was doing there. I haven't watched Super Run in a while. I want to clarify, I am not that great with hammer. And by the way, this isn't the optimal strategy. If you want to get like the better speedrun times, you're supposed to be primarily going for the chest the entire fight. But for me, as a hammer player, I can't use hammer and not go for the head. So yeah, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and then swing. And oftentimes this will be a trade. However, here I was lucky enough to be able to roll out early. It is worth taking the trade in my opinion. And of course, you can see how early I was there. We got lucky with the cone RNG. If you aren't lucky enough, or if you don't get there early enough, then you're going to want to go for just the regular level 3 slam. I have airborne on the set, and so I like to take advantage of the ledge whenever I can. And you can see that paid off there fairly well. This is actually a really good phase 1. I might have messed this up. I'm not sure. I don't know if I remembered how to punish this properly. We'll see, I guess. But yeah, you want to go for the big bang as much as possible here. And then I guess a couple extra hits if you can. It's a shame you can't like use the claw attack after that. And then after that first part break, and I mean, by the fact that I got the first part break, you can probably tell from the set that I'm running my part breaker evasion mantle setup. And for anybody who's not aware, if you focus entirely the head, it's usually possible to break the head in phase 1, which is something I really like doing because it makes the rest of the run a lot easier, or a lot more consistent. And so even though it's not speedrun strats, I'll go for it. However, it's a lot easier if you want points of part breaker. And so what I do is I put those points of part breaker in my evasion mantle, which I use at the start. And that basically guarantees me, if you play well enough, the first phase horn break. If you're not as good with the weapon, or if you like hit the chest a little bit more than I do, then do feel free to run some points of part breaker on the set itself and just sacrifice some attack points or whatever. And that'll basically guarantee you the first horn break, without having to rely on like good DPS during the limited evasion mantle time. So do keep in mind that the roaming ballista opening is shorter. As always, because in phase 3 there are a lot of really good chest openings, because the chest is a lot, well, I mean, there's always a lot of good chest openings, but because the chest is on, and you can see I forgot to go back into my phase. Yeah, because my what was I gonna say? I forgot. Oh, because in phase 3 the chest is a much larger hit zone and there's so many chest openings in general, I tend to not worry about using the roaming ballista there. I like to skip phase 2 as much as possible, because with phase 2 the chest is still a really bad hit zone, and so you want to be primarily focusing the head. But at the same time, baiting cones is harder than in phase 1 because he has a wider move pool. And by the way, if he does that puddle, and you can see here I was a little bit late, so I just go for the slam instead. You can go for the spin move. However, I found that the claw attack takes so long that he will often pin while you're up there. And unless you do it really early, you'll get punished for that. So your mileage may vary, but keep that in mind. Yeah, so I like to skip phase 2 using... not skip phase 2, but I like to use the roaming ballista during phase 2. Just because it's... okay, well... should have probably slammed there. I like to skip phase 2 as much as possible for the reasons I've explained. And so that's the reason you'll see me use the roaming ballista here. Even though you can get a little bit more damage out of it during phase 3. Then during phase 3, because I've broken both horns by the time phase 2 ends, or right near the start of phase 2, with the... well, I guess I'll explain how phase 3 goes when phase 3 starts. But yeah, it's just a case of like taking whatever openings you can, going for the head during the cones, and going for the chest otherwise. And again, obviously, because I had to like load up my charge from scratch, so I didn't have enough time. You see me go for the regular, just a charge move finisher there. Whereas here, because I have time, you'll see me go for the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then spin. I believe you only need 3 spins to get the good finisher on that, but it might be 4. I always forget. We'll see now, probably 3. Yeah, okay, perfect. So 3 is also completely viable. That is more damage than most of the other punishes, from what I can tell. But again, I do want to emphasize, I'm not a hammer main. So please keep in mind that... oh, also, this is a really quick phase 1 and 2. This has been like barely 6 minutes. I have a really bad phase 3, that means. Because the video is still going to last like another 10 minutes. Okay, well, I guess I've worked out ahead of time that this is going to be a really bad phase 3. So I'm sorry about that in advance. I'm not very good at phase 3 on this thing, to be honest with you. Just because I'm not super familiar with hammer. And whereas in phase 1 and 2, it's kind of algorithmic in that you bait cones and you punish them accordingly. In phase 3, where you got to be a little bit more adaptive with the way that you play, obviously not as good. Also, this is a bit risky. Oh no. Okay. So when he's down here, it's fairly easy to spam ledge. You've probably seen this before. This is the reason I'm running airborne on the set. Yeah, so you can see. Oh, nice. Lingering hitbox. Yeah, you can see I'm running airborne on the set. Pretty much specifically for this and for like the occasions where it happens to be useful in phase 1. Alright, so I guess my hornbreak punish has persistently been this. I don't know if that's optimal. But this is what I tend to go for during hornbreaks, apparently. It's been a while since I've done the hammer run, to be honest. I've taken a while to upload this. Sorry about that. Been in a bit of a slump lately. We're going to tank the Nova. I explained this in most of the videos, but yeah, if you've broken the horn at least once or twice and you take a max potion, you can see there we heal to full before the final hit of the Nova. If you heal up before the big hit of the Nova, it is fairly consistent. Well, not fairly consistent. It's guaranteed that you'll live. Oh, I'm trying out the smoke bomb strats here. I forgot about this. Somebody was in chat giving me advice, told me to like try smoke bombs. You can see I'm just throwing random shit out there. My phase 3 is not very good. I do primarily want to tenderize the chest as soon as possible because we are going to be focusing it, and this is a fairly nice opportunity for it. Triple fireball is always a good DPS opening. There's going to be a lot of the spin move, I predict. Oh, cool. I still don't know that move's. I still don't understand that move's hitbox. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of spin punishing on the chest. I probably should heal. Oh, okay. That's risky, I guess. Okay. Well, as I said, yep, phase 3 is as predicted, not going to be very good. Now you'll see I don't go for the spin move there. I mean, partially because I was a little bit late to charge, but also because the phase 3 cone lasts shorter. His head is down for less time. A lot of moves are like that actually in phase 3, like the puddle, for example, explodes quicker and stuff. So some of the openings that you're used to from the first 2 phases, you're going to have to treat a little bit differently in this phase. This, on the other hand, is a really nice opening. Of course, because I wasn't charging beforehand, I probably can only do a spin. But, rather a big bang, but, you know, you take what you can get. Yeah, as always with Fatalis, you just want to, like, pick your openings a little bit carefully. Hammer's one of those weapons that has a fairly decent amount of commitment unless you're using, like, the spin move a lot. And so you want to be a little bit careful and prioritize not getting killed. As I said, I am not the best hammer runner out there, of course. And so a lot of these strats, they're probably like riskier punishes that you could go for if you had more skill. But because I'm still learning hammer. This is one of those runs that I'd like to revisit. Hammer was quite fun to play, and so I would like to give this another shot at some point. But I don't know how soon that will be. Yeah, now that I think about it, maybe I should have saved the roaming ballista for this phase. You can, I believe, so with the bombardier and with heavy artillery, you're running, what, 102 damage if the chest is tenderized and he's enraged? 102 damage per shot, so that's, what, 10,200 damage. That's like a sixth of his health. Also, I just realized I haven't put this thing into rage mode. I should have put it into rage mode a long time ago. Yeah, so 10,000 damage. He goes into this final phase at something like 50% health, I believe. And so he only has like 30,000. So this is like a third of final phase. Could be skipped using roaming ballista, if you're willing to, which I should probably have done in hindsight. But anyway, not a big deal. Yeah, between roaming ballista and dragonator, then you can do like almost half of the entirety of phase 3's damage, more than that even, quite easily. Yeah, I'm just watching back this run and thinking of ways it could easily be improved. I definitely need to like take a look at some of the actual speedruns and see how they handle phase 3. And maybe copy their strats a little bit better, because there's definitely a lot left to be desired with this run. Yep, you can see me just trying shit that isn't working. Oh god, you don't want him to go into the air. That's a pretty good indication that you've been doing shit DPS. Although, to be fair, he did just land from Nova, so there's not much I could have done. That is one nice thing you can do, by the way. If you claw onto him, he will very frequently use the diving attack to land from his... Oh, this is a risky tenderize. Whew. That was... Past cons is giving me a heart attack. A point of evade extender can help with getting out of the range of the tornado attack. But personally, I found with hammer, a lot of the time you'll be charging while he begins the startup for it, and so you'll have more than enough time to roll out of the way even without evade extender. But of course, if you find yourself getting hit by that tornado slash a lot, feel free to run some evasion extend to help you roll out of the way and get into the safe zone. Oh, we're going Dragonair. Okay. Man, this was an abysmal phase 3. Yeah. So the way I tend to handle these runs is I accept that I'm not like the best speedrunner out there, but I do know that I can solo this thing with hammer really consistently, and I know a lot of people struggle with the matchup. And so I figured, you know, I might as well post an explanation of how I go about doing it. Just for anybody who's struggling, you know. I have points of air. I have airborne in this section. I probably. Oh no, okay, we're gonna go for Big Bang. Those toe hits are frustrating. Oh my goodness, this is painful just watching this back. That's not fair. I deserve the chest hit there. Like, it went through the chest and prioritized the toe for some reason. Yeah, so that's how I get away from the tornado. If you haven't sort of figured that out by now, is I usually roll a couple of times just to try and get on the other side of his chest from where he starts up. I also haven't used my second binder. Second binder is, especially if you can get him near a ledge, is a nice source of damage. If you can get him nice and close to that same ledge that we did the first binder at, it means you can punish using your aerial attacks over and over again. Man, I'm really bad at aiming with hammer. Yeah, okay. So as I mentioned, absolute garbage final phase, and really decent first and second phases. I would definitely like to revisit this run once I get a better grip on how to handle final phase. I'd beat the first two phases after 6 minutes, and usually that's about half the run. So this should definitely have been somewhere in the region of like 12 minutes if I was actually playing well. Especially because the chest is such a more accessible hitbox compared to the head. So if anything, final phase should have been easier. I think a lot more like small spin attacks that end in the thrust would have been maybe in order. Oh. This was a bad idea. He's just done his final Nova, which means he's 5% away from 5% health away from dying. Oh, I almost got killed for this. He's 5% health away from dying, which means he's got barely any HP left. I probably should have just finished this the old-fashioned way. Those two cones would have been pretty nice openings. But anyway. Yeah. Hopefully this was helpful. I want to emphasize again, I'm not a frequent hammer player. This was not the best of my runs, definitely. In terms compared to my other weapons, and I do want to revisit hammer at some point. Here's the set, by the way. just slow down the video or take screenshots or whatever. Yeah, but we'll talk about the skills in just a second. I mean, if you specifically want to copy my decos, then just pause. But I'll show you the actual skills, and we'll talk about why we pick what we pick in just a second. Okay, so skill-wise, on the 3rd page, you're just not seeing the point of airborne, basically, and like some of the mantle stuff. Heavy artillery appears to be a permanent skill, but it's just because I'm wearing the temporal mantle by the end of this run, and so it looks like it's permanent. But I have the points of heavy artillery in the temporal mantle. Yeah, so 4-piece Fatalis, 1-piece Ram Guard Gamma. It's a very, very, very typical setup for peak performance and stuff like that. Is there anything in particular that's confusing here? I guess focus would be interesting. So the reason I run 3 points of focus, I do not generally recommend hammer players run focus, because you're so used to running hammer without focus that all of the timings and stuff are sort of ingrained into you. And focus doesn't make much of a difference. However, I did find that running the 3 points of focus made it much more consistent to be able to get to be able to charge up the spinning move for punishing cones. You saw me doing the spin move, and I needed to get at least 3 turns before using my before doing the finisher to actually get like the full punish from that spin to win move whenever he did a cone. And I would find that without focus, I would often not have enough time at level 3. I'd have to like settle for the lesser punish. Whereas with 3 points of focus, it was really consistent to get to spin move territory, to get to max charge in time to punish the cone. You should obviously vary that depending on your preferences. If you're a long time hammer player, you're probably going to not want to run that. Or if you found that you're good enough at charging beforehand to get to level 3 without having to run focus, then obviously you can drop focus for whatever else you like. But it's Fatalis. We have so many slots, you might as well just run whatever you like. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else that's particularly interesting. We're using the Fatalis hammer and we're running as much crit as we can to get up to 100 as close as possible. Evasion window is really nice as always, and otherwise it's just very, very typical DPS skills. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll do my best to answer them. But yeah, hopefully this helps, and good luck with the runs. Take it easy. Bye-bye.